to just be successful, you have to go through the highs and the lows. Sometimes the lows can be playing a show for $20 for a room of people that don't care. But you grow from that, and you will only get better. You know what I mean? And you'll learn how to command that room.
Hello, welcome to Stories from a Room, a So Far Sounds podcast where we dive into the journeys of incredible artists we love and the moments that shaped their journey. I'm your host, Josh Savage, and today I'm joined by Zach Day, a Kentucky-born singer-songwriter who calls himself a y'alternative artist, blending Appalachian roots with left-of-center indie sounds and a voice that's just as at home with an acoustic guitar as it is taking down big pop ballads. Zach first hit national screens on The Voice, earning a spot on John Legend's team, and has since grown into a beloved presence in the indie queer scene, touring internationally and dropping songs that balance vulnerability, humor, and raw honesty. Zach, good morning. Pretty early for you, right?
Good morning. Yes, it's 7:30 a.m. and I'm just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. You know, I got my coffee. I'm happy to be talking to you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to dive into your story. I still recall seeing you play So Far Berlin on a rooftop, and just my jaw dropped to the floor, and just seeing everyone else's, and I was beside myself, man. One of the best singers I've ever seen perform.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That was awesome. It was awesome to be able to, I mean, look, I've been like watching So Far, like videos on YouTube since I was like in college, or late high school. And it's just been a dream to be able to perform with So Far Sounds. And it's kind of like a full circle moment. And I've also always wanted to go to Berlin. So yeah, it's been an absolutely beautiful journey so far. So thanks for having me.
I mean, honestly, the fact that you are not more popular as an artist already blows my mind, and is exactly why I decided to bring So Far back to Berlin, because it's insane how amazing talent like yours is still undiscovered. But I'm still confident it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the industry is complicated, as we all know, and someone like me, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like I have, appeal to, anybody. As long as you like good music and good voices, you should like me. But there is still there's still something kind of niche about a queer artist from the backwoods of Kentucky, singing kind of queer love songs, and I refuse to change for anybody, especially this music industry, because I'm like, no, dude, you guys can take it or leave it. I'm still going to do my thing. I'm still going to tell my stories and sing my songs. So, yeah.
So what got you started? Why do you make music, Zach?
Well, and I want to correct you a little bit on the way you said Appalachian.
Good, thank you. Please do. I was a bit worried about that
because they'll come after me. Okay, I'm not trying to get canceled off the internet here. Okay, no, I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains in the backwoods of Kentucky, and a big part of Appalachian culture is storytelling, and it really does run really deep, because just being in the backwoods of Kentucky, especially maybe let's say 100 years ago, or even not even that far, but like there's just not access to libraries. Like people used to deliver books on horseback to people like where I live now. Yes, like just to like continue to like promote literature and knowledge. Anyway, so like you have to come up with your own ways to entertain yourself and tell stories and stuff like that. So it runs really deep. And I just grew up around like the best singers and songwriters and storytellers and players that you could ever imagine. So I was always very inspired by that.
Can you name
And
any?
I mean, I'm talking about like my friends and family. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
see.
Like, yeah, like I grew up with like people that you probably will never ever hear of or see because they're like in the backwoods of Kentucky. So like my great uncles and like my cousins and stuff like that are just like some of the best singers and guitar players and fiddle players and banjo players that you'll ever hear. You know what I mean? And they're just doing it because it's just in their blood and it's just fun. You know what I mean? They're not trying to make a career out of it necessarily. Um, so that's inspiring. Um, but yeah, man, I just grew up like singing with them, singing on the porch with my sister. My sister's also an amazing singer, and one of my best friends too is also just like, it's just so weird how like I grew up singing with like people that are just like freaking amazing singers, and like somehow we just like would sing in 3-part harmony, and um, we wanted to sound like Dolly Parton and Loretta Lynn and like the Carpenters and Mamas and the Papas and Fleetwood Mac and that, you know what I mean? Like those were our inspirations. Carole King, Joni Mitchell, whatever. Especially those 3-part harmonies though. Like that was our favorite stuff to sing. And that's another part of Appalachian culture is just like singing in the church and singing like in harmony is just part of it's like our bread and butter. It literally like runs in our blood. So that's just the beginning of it. That's what's inspired me, and I've always been a singer and making music and trying my best to like, I would skip school and just like teach myself how to play guitar. That was like my school. You know what I mean? So yeah,
You skipped school, so you're a bad boy, Zach.
a little bit of a rebel. Especially in my teenage years. Oh my God, I was like, I'm not going there. It's hell. I'm staying here and I'm going to learn how to play No One by Alicia Keys on guitar. Like, why?
Man, I'm already a huge fanboy. If I see you singing 3-part harmonies as well, like I would die. Like that would be just.
It's all over my YouTube, bro. All over
Is
my
it?
YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
like from like, but I mean, I'm in like high school, so I don't know. We sounded pretty good though. I was always like, you know what? For being like 14, we kind of like ate this up, you know?
So, what was that like? Growing up in such a small village, especially as a queer person as well, was that quite difficult? Because I assume it was quite conservative.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's made a lot of progress these days, honestly. Like, because I still have my family all still lives there, literally on this like little farm, and I have a big heart for Appalachia and Kentucky and like where I'm from because it's like so beautiful and the nature is so beautiful. And as a farm boy growing up, I'm an outdoor kind of guy. I love being outside. I love being in nature and in the woods and stuff like that. So that part of it I definitely have a huge heart for, and I miss that kind of stuff. And who I may end up back there. I may end up buying a house there someday if I am so lucky. You know what I mean? But like, um, the other part of it is like it's yeah, it's kind of conservative, and there's still a lot of progress to be made. Growing up there as a queer person, I honestly was not really focused on that part of myself until much later in my life. I was so focused on just surviving because I was kind of a black sheep. I kind of like didn't fit in and I hated school and I didn't have that many friends. I had a couple friends that like I said, we would just like skip school and like sing and stuff like that. Um, I just never felt like I was a part of that life. I was an observer, honestly. I would just like show up and look around and kind of try to distance myself from being a part of it. So there are parts of my high school life and time when I was living there that's kind of a blur to me because I had to black it out or something. I like was dealing with like my family issues and yeah, it wasn't easy and I just had to survive, man. I was just like, listen, I got to get out of here. um, at the time. Um, yeah, it's not easy, but I really turned to music, honest to God, as a way to survive. And if it wasn't for like me like learning how to play guitar and starting to like write songs and starting to just like put all of my energy and focus on just like making YouTube videos or like or just singing and trying to like sound as good as I could. I was like putting all of my time and energy into just like sounding as good as I could, like studying vocals, listening like really intensely to like specific songs and artists, watching my best friend at the time. She played guitar. I didn't really play until I was like 16, and I would just like focus on her. And the reason how I learned how to play guitar was just from watching her and then going home later and practicing on my grandpa's guitar and trying to like mimic her fingerings on the guitar and stuff like that. So that's what I was focused on. And I thank God for that, because I would probably, who knows, I could be like on drugs or dead now, to
Yeah,
be honest. Yeah.
I actually really fully relate to that. And so you were self-taught vocally and I guess guitar-wise too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, well, you did a great job.
Thank you. But like I said, I grew up around like really talented musicians. I think it's just part of, yeah, just part of our culture and it kind of runs in our blood. I mean, there, like I said, there's people out that like are freaking amazing that like we may never see on like TV or something. But yeah, I'm like nothing compared to some of these guys out here in Kentucky for sure.
Wow. And so were your parents quite supportive?
They were kind of focused on themselves during my teenage years and kind of growing up. I remember when I was like little, when my parents were still like married to each other, they were kind of like, oh, he has like talent, and like they wanted to throw me in all kinds of different stuff. So I was doing like um, piano lessons for a little bit, just picking up, like there was a girl at the church that recognized my talent, and she was like, she told my mom that she would give me piano lessons for free because she wanted to see me like succeed, and she did, and I did it for a little
Wow.
while. Yeah, it was, so that was a blessing, and I always think about her very fondly, Miss Jana. But yeah, and then they had me in like, I was a clogger. I don't know if you ever heard of clogging before,
What's
but
that?
it's like Appalachian tap dance kind of. You'll have to look it up.
Can we get
It's
a preview?
I can't do it right now. I could.
So
Hey, I
in the morning.
could. I could, but you don't want to see that this
Next
morning.
so
It's
far
too early.
show, we want a little tease. Commit.
Okay, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I was just in all this different stuff, and then I think that was my parents' way of like just being like, okay, we want to get him in something, you know what I mean? But then as I got a little bit older, they like I said, we were going through some family issues and stuff like that. I kind of just started to like raise myself, and that's how I was like skipping school, and I could have been doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but instead I was just focused on music. So um, I didn't really start performing or like playing my guitar in public or trying to book shows or anything like that. Was not my experience. I was just trying to survive. So it's kind of funny to me sometimes, especially being in LA and like these people that are like, yeah, like, I was touring when I was like 16, and like I was going to this like really like big music conservatory and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, that's awesome. I wish I could have maybe had that experience in some ways, but everybody's got different experiences.
So when did you start playing shows and also writing your own songs?
Probably not till college. Um, I mean, I do remember like in high school, and I was like 16, 17, like me and my sister and my best friend, we did kind of perform as a trio for a little bit, any chance we could. Like there was like a county fair that we performed at, and we were singing just all cover songs, I think. Maybe like a couple little stuff that we wrote, but we were singing like this song called Hell on Heels, and I'm pretty sure we sang like Jason Mraz or so, I don't know, just cover songs like that. And then but then yeah, whenever I went to college, and thank God I did, because like I didn't know if I was gonna even graduate high school. Went to college, and started singing background vocals for some local bands in Lexington, Kentucky. and in the studio and live. So that was kind of a cool way for me to kind of just start like getting into the studio, getting like behind a mic and stuff like that, building my stage presence. And then I was like, well, I want to sing and write my own songs. So I was like 18 or 19, went through like a little heartbreak, my first heartbreak when I was like 19. And of course, that's when you're going to start writing your biggest songs and your hits.
Right, yeah, I love your song Washington, actually. Can you
Thank
tell us a
you.
bit more about that one?
Yeah, sure. I wrote that song during the pandemic when we were quarantining, because I moved to Nashville and had a friend there that I like got a big old crush on. And then we were like, oh, we're going to like go to Washington State, because we wanted to go to like Seattle because we heard the music scene was great and that it's beautiful and all this stuff. We were going to go, and then we ended up not going. And then I wrote that song just as a way of processing that relationship that ended.
Got you. Well, it's a banger, man. I
Thank
love that song.
you.
It's really good. So,
Thanks.
so tell me more about your alternative then. I know I butchered the pronunciation there as well, and I apologize.
No, that was good. Y'all alternative. Um, Listen, it's just a term that I kind of like heard floating around, and was just like, wait, this is so real. And I was like, this sounds like, I don't know, like when you're performing and when you kind of start like putting out music and playing shows, people are going to come up to you and be like, so what's your genre? Like, what type of music do you do? And I'm always like, I was beforehand, I was just like, I don't know, just like whatever. Like, that's not good enough. That's not a good enough answer. And so I was like, okay, it's like a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, a little bit singer-songwriter, whatever. Yeah, alternative. It's perfect. It's just that's a great way to describe it. So anything that I sing, I just say it's the alternative now, and then people are like, "Oh, love that!" And then that's a good enough answer for them. So just the alternative.
Well, that's super smart, Zach. Seems like you've got a bit of a business head on yourself as well as a creative one.
I'm trying, man. I mean, it's like you got to have a brand. You got to have a identifying feature about yourself and your music in this industry, I suppose, if that's what you want. Um, so kind of discovering that and claiming that the alternative for myself, and just telling people that's what my brand is now. That's helped me a lot. Yeah, and now I feel like, okay, you know what to expect when you come see me perform, at least a little bit. But also I have a superpower, which is um, I come to a gig and I'm dressed in like a cutoff and camouflage and like bandanas, and I look like country as hell. And then people are like, what type of music is this guy gonna do? If you've never heard of me, they're like, I don't know about this, about this guy. And then I get up there and I perform, and every time I play, I have people after come up to me and be like, I did not expect that, man. I did not expect that voice and those songs. And I'm just like, yeah, that's my superpower. Like, expect the unexpected. You know what I mean? Like, strap in, get ready.
100%. Definitely. If anyone sees Zach about to play, strap right in, because
Strap
you're going to be,
in.
blown away.
Thank you.
So, how did the voice come about?
Oh my God. Yeah. So the voice, that was, I'm like triggered. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. I was in college. I was singing background vocals. I was kind of like singing in like a jazz group. I was also singing in like a black gospel ensemble, just little ensembles at school. And one of my friends in one of those groups had done The Voice the season before and had made it to like the top 4, something like that. Made it super far. And they reached out to me on Instagram and asked me if I wanted to audition. And I was like, well, what's the worst that could happen? My friend made it really far, and now she's, successful and whatever. And I was just like, worst that could happen, I don't make it. Best that could happen, I get to sing for like these people that I've looked up to for a long time, and they get to tell me that I'm a good singer, and maybe I'll get to have a really cool experience. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I went, auditioned. I continued in that process for months and months. And actually, that was like the Voice is the reason that I came out of the closet, if you will, because they were kind of like, "What's your story?" And then, yeah, that was a whole thing. But yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did your family know that before, or
No, they
that was the big
didn't.
reveal? Oh my
That was
god,
the reveal.
how was that?
It was fine. It was a good opportunity for me to be like, "Hey guys, by the way, gay." You know what I mean? I texted them. So it was like this. It was like I kept making it through and through, and then like you get to the point where they're like, "Okay, we want to fly your family out to LA and you know have them watch your audition in front of the coaches or whatever, and um, we want to interview your mom about like what it was like to, live on a farm and how you were like this little queer boy on a farm in Kentucky, whatever." And I was like, oh, I didn't expect that, which is crazy because I should have expected that. I'd been telling the producers this whole time, oh, I'm like this queer artist and I'm just like, da. And then, of course, they want to interview my family and ask them about that. And I was like, oh, I have to tell them first. Yeah. So I just texted my mom and my dad separately and just said, I'm doing The Voice and I'm gay and they want to talk about it. So um, I just wanted to warn you before you saw me on TV being like, hey, girls. You know what I mean?
Were they okay about it? Like, were they still supportive?
Yeah, thank God. I think that like I had been so independent for like, so long at that point, even though I was only like, no, I was older. I was like 24, 25 whenever I told them, whenever I was doing The Voice and stuff. But I had been so independent for so long, even like I said, throughout high school, I was like kind of just like raising myself and like I never asked them for anything or talked to them about my personal life or anything like that ever. So I just kind of told them as a way of I just didn't want them to be surprised if they saw me talking about that on TV. So I kind of was doing them a service, if you ask me. But they were just like, okay. My mom was like, have you told your grandma and grandpa? And I was like, no. They can, if they have any questions, you just send them to me. And she was like, okay. Of
Wow, Zach, that's so
course, that was
brave.
her concern. Oh, thanks, man. I mean, I know it's definitely difficult for a lot of people. And, I'm not trying to like dismiss that coming out experience because I know it's definitely not the same for everybody, especially people who grew up the way that I did in Kentucky, a very conservative part of the country. Like, yeah, I was terrified. Trust me, I was terrified. I was bawling my eyes out, and my roommate, my best friend, and she's still my best friend, but like, I was just like, what do I do? She's like, I think you're gonna be fine. You know what I mean? And my sister knew as well, but yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I gotta rip the band-aid off. This is kind of the perfect time. I'm gonna be on national TV. I'm gay. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sounds like you'll do whatever it takes to make your dream in music happen.
Not whatever. Not anything. Trust me. Because there are other things that people do, and I'm like, I won't do anything. Um, but I know myself. I know my skills. I know my songs. I know that like I have a story that deserves to be heard, and people can relate to me because it doesn't matter if you're a queer person from the backwoods of Kentucky or, a grandmother who it doesn't matter. Like, I just feel like we've all had human experiences. We've all gone through heartbreak. We've all had that moment of sitting in your car after someone you really like, you drop them off at their house and you're just like, what the hell is my life? We've all had moments like that. And so that's kind of what I try to convey in my music. And I just love to perform and I love to sing. And I do think that this is my calling, you know? I've invested so much time and effort into just trying to make it happen for myself. So at this point, I can't stop. I refuse.
Well, for that, especially in the music industry, it's a big roller coaster ride. There's a lot of highs and lows. What would you say are your favorite coping mechanisms to kind of power through the lows as well as the highs?
I love that question because part of my thing is like, I love being cozy and I love being at home. I really, really do. When I was younger, maybe I could like go out and like drink and party and stuff like that, which I still love to do every now and then. But the way that I re-energize and recharge is just to be at home. I stay in the gym, you know what I mean, when I can. And I love to read, and I love to drink a coffee and just listen to a podcast. I've been knitting lately, which is
Have
fun
you?
for me. Yes, I've knitted 3 scarves. Thank you very much. Literally, I will put on a podcast. I'm like an 80-year-old grandma in a 30-year-old male's body. 31, whatever. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I try to like re-energize by just like having time alone and disconnecting and turning off my phone.
So knitting, is that going to be your merch?
I thought about that, but it's like it takes me a long time. It's not
I
like
bet.
easy. I'd have to charge $100 for something because I'm like, it took me months to do this because I only do it like on a plane or just like in my room when I have downtime, which is rare because like, you know, whenever I'm not chilling, I'm working. I work a full-time job as well. And I do all of my own merch. I do all of my own promotion. I'm completely independent, so I have a lot of stuff to do for my music too. So like literally like the other day I was like trying to watch a movie, but I was like, I can't watch a movie right now. I have to make a business card. I need to get my QR code printed out. I got, you know what I mean? I had like all this other stuff that I was like thinking about. I was like, I have to get my merch set up. Oh, and like when I perform next week, I think it'd be really cool if I had like some props. So I'm going to like start like figuring out like, you know, I got to order like a lace tablecloth because I'm gonna like have I have like this whole plan for like my next few shows, and it's hard for me to focus. I think I might need to like start like smoking a little bit or something because like my brain is just constantly on 10.
That must be handy when you're writing songs, though.
Yeah, I wrote some cool stuff last night, and I was like, that was another thing. I was trying to just like, oh, I just want to like watch a movie. I'm really in like this place right now where I'm like, and I've already got my whole room decorated in Halloween, if you can see, and like you can't even see over there, but like I'm trying to like make my room my sanctuary and just like, because I'm here right now, and I'm just like, I want to have a reason to like not focus on music for just a second. So, yeah, last night I was like, I want to watch scary movies, and like I made banana bread, and I was just like, I'm just gonna like chill. Couldn't do it, could not do it,
You
had
really
to
are,
like,
Grandma.
oh yeah, no, like I wasn't kidding about that. Um, but yeah, couldn't chill, had to write a song, and it was great. It's gonna be cool, but I've got like a really cool project in mind. Maybe over the winter, I really want to like start working on an album.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
So we'll see.
Quickly back to coping mechanisms. You just went on
Yeah.
tour, so how was that? What were their highs? What were the highs? What were the lows? Tell me everything.
Yeah, it was an experience.
First time in Europe, right?
First time like playing my music in Europe.
Okay.
I'd been a couple times, like a couple years ago, I did like a vacation and I like took myself on a little backpacking trip throughout some European countries. We went to like Amsterdam, Paris, London. Yeah, I just like met up with a group over there and like just kind of went around with them. It was really fun. And then when I was in college, I went to Italy and Ireland with my choir. you know. But yeah, I never played my shows over there, my songs or anything like that. Um, it was an interesting experience overall, but the best part about it was when I got to go to Berlin and play so far shows that I had like reached out to you and reached out to some of my so far people here in LA, and I was just like, guys, I'm going to Europe, help me, like I really want to play some so far shows. Because yeah, I've always had a good experience with so far, and like I said, it was a dream of mine to play so far anyway. So I was just like, maybe if I'm so lucky, I'll get to play at least one international so far show. And so the stuff that I booked myself was the best part about it. Everything else was like,
Right. So tell us the difference and why so far shows mean so much to you.
Well, I just think like I was trying to work with other people on some other shows and stuff like that. And yeah, anytime I have to give up a little bit of control or a little bit of like, yeah, that's basically it. Anytime I have to give up some control when it comes to my music career, anything, I'm a little bit like, I'm a control freak, so I can't have that. But anytime that I book myself and I can, be that point of contact, I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to know when the show is at least 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like, I trust myself more than I trust these people. Okay. But yeah, so that's that. But, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess I kind of grew up watching So Far, and I was like watching like the Staves play in like London, and
Wow,
like I said, yeah, deep cut there. But I grew up listening to 3-part harmony, so of course I love the Staves. You know what I mean? And I really want to sing So Far London. I really want to play it because I know that's where it started too. And then I also saw like, of course, Yeba playing My Mind, and that being like a huge thing for like So Far and her. I don't know, just all my favorite artists have done So Far. So always wanted to do it. And it was like on my bucket list, on my like manifesting thing from like the time I was like playing guitar. I was just like, I really want to do this thing called So Far.
And what was So Far? What was your first So Far?
My first one was in Nashville.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, because I lived in Nashville for a little bit after The Voice. I moved to Nashville and really was trying to make it happen for myself. I was just like, okay, I can do this. Like that was when it was like not until after The Voice that I was like, okay, I'm going to be like an artist now. So like one thing about The Voice was that it did definitely like make me see that like, oh, I can, I'm just as good as these people. Like I was surrounded by a lot of really great talent, but I was just like, okay, I can do this and I can write a good song and I can play and perform. So that was what that did for me. But yeah, I moved to Nashville like right after I was eliminated from the show before it even aired, and was just like, I'm about to take over this city, and I did a lot of great stuff. I performed there, and yeah, I booked a So Far gig pretty quickly into living there. And that was awesome. And then after that, I played. I think I've done a couple in Nashville. I've done a couple in LA. They just started Anaheim again, like Orange County. So I did one there. And then I'm going to like San Diego in a couple weeks, playing a So Far there. So like, yeah, it's been great. And then just being able to do the one, I did 2 in Berlin. So that was awesome. And, yeah, it's been great. And it's always been a really good experience. Like, not to like sound like I'm like kissing y'all's butt or anything like that, but no, it really has been a good experience. Like every show that I've played with So Far, they've been really communicative. They've like had like someone that I can reach out to if I had any questions. They let you sell your merch there and you get paid a little bit, which is great. Yeah, it's always been, and everyone's always been nice. But Berlin was really cool because I was terrified because I was like, I don't know, like I don't know if anyone's even going to speak English here. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. Yeah, but they were super, super sweet and accommodating. So it was fun. I really want to do another one.
Totally. You should definitely do more around Europe. But I could see you doing really well out here as well.
Would
Yeah,
love to.
I do recall you mentioning now. It's like you guys probably don't understand me and being quite nervous about the German thing. But Berlin's like
Yeah.
so international. Like I don't even speak German. Like not really. I know the bare minimum, so I can get a passport and that's it. So
Right.
and it's because no one speaks German here, really. Mostly English.
Wow.
And
Well, I was playing some shows around, like whenever I was doing this tour, some other shows were like they really didn't speak very much English. So
mm,
I was like trying to tell my story and they didn't know. They were just like crickets or like clapping.
I'd love to dive in a bit more. For non-musicians who don't fully understand what it's like touring and the shows and stuff like that, I guess what are the biggest challenges touring, and like the things that can go wrong, and delve into that a bit more, and maybe share. I'd love to hear some stories where it has gone totally wrong as well.
Ooh, well, I mean, to be totally honest, this last time was like my first time touring internationally, I suppose. Like I said, um, but it was pretty good, except for like having to, yeah, work with this other team of people that like didn't really understand me very well.
Like booking agents or promoters, or what kind of team?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, yeah, I can't say too much because I don't want to like, but um, it was just like another team that was trying to like help me, I guess, and it didn't really work out. But I don't know. Just a big part of it is just trying to be flexible, I would say, especially if you're like working with other people. Now, if you're gonna like book yourself and do the whole thing yourself, like that's probably if I do that again, I'll probably honestly just do that because, like I said, I'm a control freak. I know it's always good to have help, but whatever, dude. It's hard for me to like relinquish control. So, um, the only time that I had a little bit of issue this most time was just like trying to get from one place to the other via train. It was fun, but also a little bit stressful because I was taking like Polish trains and German trains and stuff like that. And I was trying to like, and I was just by myself completely, had no clue how to do it, had never been on a train before. And I'm just like, kind of like a genius, so I can figure it out, but like it's not easy unless you've had that experience before. So, yeah, there was one time when I like missed my train and I had to get back to like Warsaw for like a rehearsal that night or something like that because I was like playing some shows with some Polish artists that are like awesome, but we had to like rehearse and I was coming back from Berlin and the train ride, I don't know, something about like this time that I was there in Berlin, some of the train stops were down or something. They were doing some sort of construction or like, what is it, like some sort of construction on like the train tracks or something like that in like Frankfurt or something. And so I don't know, they were like, oh, you were supposed to take a bus. And I was like, how am I supposed to freaking know that, dude? Like, I didn't know that. So it was a mess. And then I jumped on one of these other trains and like begged this like Polish guy that was like running the doors. I was like, please, I have to get back. And like, I have a ticket. And he's like, nope, that was for a train like 3 hours ago. And I was like, let me on, please let me on. And he was like, well, you might not have a seat. And I was like, that's fine. I don't care. And I had my guitar. I had a big luggage and a backpack, and I had to stand in like these little tiny aisles for like 4 hours. I just stood there and I was sweating and I was on my feet for 4 hours and people kept coming by me and I had to suck it in. Yeah, that was horrible. I really hated that. And I was pissed because I was like, I'm doing all this to get back for a rehearsal. I don't need to rehearse tonight. I can do it tomorrow or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, well, credit to you for keeping your head up and powering through. Like,
I
happens
was
all the
just
time,
like,
right?
I just chalked it up to this is part of the experience of just touring and just
Europe.
Europe. And yeah, but then like I had some train rides where it was awesome. Like there was like this one train where I got to like, there's like a coffee shop on there and I got to like sit down and look out the window. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like living my Harry Potter dream right now. You know what I mean? As a millennial, I'm like, da, 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 da. You know what I mean? I was living.
Beautiful. So I'd love to dive in a bit more in the queer scene. Have you done many? I mean, I think it's amazing that you're someone to look up to in the queer scene, especially from your background, from what I've heard. Have you? I mean, how's the queer scene in Nashville and the community there? Well, the reason I'm asking is because we did our first ever singles night with queer singles night, and it
That's
was
cool.
awesome, Zach. We so as a white privileged heterosexual male, it was a first time for me doing anything like that, really. And I just love the energy of the queer community. I feel like, of course, it's quite protective, of course, understandably so, but once you're in it, it just felt really just like you're amongst your best friends. And
Nice.
would love to learn more about your experience within the queer scene, and especially your first steps after The Voice as well. Getting into it, I guess.
Yeah. Um, Nashville queer scene. Well, to be fair, I do. Like I said, I have a full-time job. It's remote, thank God, which is like why I'm able to like travel and perform and all of that stuff. That's been a huge blessing. But I work with a queer organization in Nashville, and that's been a great way to like meet other queer people um, and stuff like that. You know, Nashville is kind of a small like scene, I guess you could say. Um, there's a few like gay bars and stuff like that if that's your thing. Which, like I said, I'm not much. I'm a homebody. I'm an 80-year-old woman, so like I stay home. So I don't know much about any kind of scene besides like me sitting there knitting alone. Um, but you know, there's some really cool spots in Nashville. There's actually like a lesbian bar in Nashville. There's not that many lesbian um, bars or clubs or anything like that in the United States. I think they said there's like maybe 13 total in the whole country. So the fact that there's one in Nashville is cool. It's called Lipstick Lounge, and it's a very fun scene. That's like one of my favorite bars in Nashville. They do karaoke, and I've performed there a couple times, and yeah, it's fun. Cheap drinks and strong drinks as well. So huge shout out to them. Um, and I've played like Nashville Pride a couple times. Just like the smaller stages there, like acoustic and stuff like that. It's so cool. And Nashville has some amazing musicians, obviously, like just in general. But I will say that, like, for some reason, I felt like maybe it was just because I was kind of fresh to making music and performing and stuff at the time when I lived there. I just felt like Nashville wasn't like super embracing my music and my style maybe at the time. So far, LA has really embraced my sense of style and my music a little bit more, um, like thus far. So we'll see. But like I said, I'm actually playing So Far Sounds Nashville in a couple weeks. So it'll be great to go back and perform there again. And I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Trying to find your place in any kind of community can be a little bit difficult. As a gay man, trying to figure out who I am, number one, and where I fit in the queer scene, and where I fit in the music scene, and then the intersectionality of all of that. It's too much for me to think about sometimes. I'm just me. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to sing my songs. I'm going to play them the way that I want. And I'm going to just show up, and you either love it or maybe it's not for you, whatever it is. But yeah, dude, I don't know. LA's got a good queer scene as well. And I just feel like LA has kind of embraced my music a little bit more so far. So.
Interesting. Would you say you found the answers then yet about who you truly are? Apart from
I'm
being an old
almost, I
lady.
feel like, yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like I'm almost there. I dealt with a lot of, you know, it's hard. It's not easy out here for anybody, but especially being like from the backwoods of Kentucky and then being told like your whole life that like who you are is wrong and stuff like that. It's not until you can really look internally and then you can, um, yeah, I had to do a lot of work, and I'm still doing a lot of work on trying to figure out who I am. Um, but I'm working on it, and I'm doing a good job, I think, because I feel a lot more confident in who I am, number one, and my music, and like discovering like my brand, the alternative. Like I was fighting so long and trying to run away from that part of me. Like I was not embracing the fact that I was from Kentucky, that I'm from a farm, that I grew up in the backwoods. I was trying to like distance myself from all of that because I'm like, no, that's not me. That's not me. Like I was kind of told my whole life that like you don't belong here, you know, in that way. But I do belong there because that is my story. I grew up there, and it's beautiful, and I love Kentucky, and I love Appalachia, and I'm not going to let like people like bigots or people like that like try to tell me that that's not who I am. That is who I am. So I had to strip everything away, look at myself after like the voice and all this stuff, and you know I got people in my ear saying you need to sing R&B music, you need to sing soul music, you need to sing gospel, whatever, country, whatever it is, you know. I had to like be like, what is it, Zach, that like made you fall in love with music in the first place? And it was being on a porch in the backwoods of Kentucky with cows literally within like I could touch them from where I'm sitting, you know what I mean? And just like that is how I was raised. That's the type of music that I was singing. And then I was like, let's just embrace that, Zach. Like embrace it. And yeah, it was like back to basics, you know.
What did it take to change that perspective from running away from yourself to eventually embracing who you truly are?
Moving to LA, and being in an apartment on the 19th floor in Koreatown, where I was like, I hate this, and um, I just felt so out of place. It was a culture shock. Literally, it's a culture shock to go from living in Kentucky on a farm to living in LA in a like 19th floor of an apartment. And being completely alone and isolated. Um, that was scary for me. Also, I was like going through a lot of things personally, like a breakup and trying to do music and having like also like I was like being told I was like trying to work with like management for a little while, and they were trying to tell me this is what you need to do, this is the type of music that you need to sing, here, let's put out this song and it's going to make you famous or whatever. And I was just like, dude, screw all of this. Like it didn't, none of that worked out for me in that way, but it did kind of show me that like, okay, Zach, this is that moment where it's like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do music, or are you going to not like just give up? You know what I mean? Because I just had other people's hands in the pot, and I was just like, I just didn't feel connected with anything that I was doing. The music that I was putting out, the music that I was writing with other people that like don't even freaking know me. You know what I mean? And so like, I don't know, that's been a huge journey for me. And then that's when I like was like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I kind of discovered this alternative term and kind of coined that term. And I was just like, okay, let's like just lean into like what made you fall in love with music in the first place. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I kind of have this vision of, like I said to you earlier, like once my lease is up here in LA, which like I have a great spot now and I really love it. And I've been playing music with this band that I really love. They're great. But things are changing right now for me. I kind of want to take it a step further and maybe go back to Kentucky for a little bit and work on an album and just hunker down and get like I told you at the beginning, like I know some of these musicians that are like some of the best musicians ever, and they're just like in Kentucky, and like they're not out here in LA charging me $1,000 to make a song or whatever. Like they would, of course I would like compensate them for their time, but what I'm saying is like I could make music with people that know me and know that struggle of growing up in Appalachia and in poverty, and like they just know my story. You know what I mean? They understand because they can relate to me. And these people out here in LA that, you know, grew up super privileged with like money and like they trust me, the talent here is great. But where's the grit? Where is the heart and soul? I need that. And I'm ready to just like make this album of my dreams and really like produce it myself and just record it myself and have my full Bon Iver moment. Just like lock myself in a cabin somewhere in Kentucky and just like make this record. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Do you know what the record's about yet?
Yeah, I do. I have been taking notes, and I also already have a bunch of songs that I'm like thinking I might put on there, but I want to tell the stories of the coal miners' daughters like me. You know what I mean? Like literally my family I come from coal miners. I come from like people who are farmers and worked in the backwoods. You know what I mean? And I have this vision of telling the stories of those coal miners' daughters who grew up in poverty, who have seen their family members get addicted to drugs and like have nothing else to do except for fall in love and get on drugs and like, you know, run around in the back of a truck and like cross county lines to pick up beer from drive-through windows and stuff like that. Like that's just my story. And I think that it would be interesting to like just write those songs and tell those stories, maybe even from like different perspectives. Like it doesn't have to be from my perspective. Like I kind of want to write a song, and I have been writing some songs from like the perspectives of like my grandma or like, you know, my great grandmother who had to see like her husband come home from the mines every day and he had like a hunched back. Like my great grandfather had like a hunched over back because he was always in the mines, like hunched over in the dark and like breathing in this like toxic fumes and coal mine dust and stuff like that. I don't know. I've got a vision. Also, like I said, like the storytelling of Appalachia is a huge part of it. So like I grew up hearing stories about like Wicked John, who like lives in the woods and he was tempted by the devil to sell his soul for like happiness and peace. I don't know. I've got ideas. It's going to be so good.
I can't wait. So excited for that. How do you usually write your songs? Like, do you tend to focus more on melodies or lyrics first?
It's kind of different for every song, to be honest. Even like Washington, which you said you like that song, I wrote that one and I had a different melody for it first for a while, and then I came back to it later, and now the melody that's on it is what, like that was the second one, which I think is like a really good hook, like that. I'm sorry we never went to Washington. That was like something totally different beforehand. I don't even remember what it was, but every single song that I do, typically I start with like a melody in my head most of the time, or sometimes I will like have like some sort of couplet of lyrics in my head, and I'll write them down in my notes on my phone or in a little journal or something. And then I'll come back to it later. So like the ones like last night, I was writing some stuff, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll have like a download. I think it's like a download from like the universe or whatever. I'll wake up in the middle of the night with some sort of melody in my head or some sort of lyrics in my head, and I'll record it on my voice memos on my phone because I don't want to forget it. And then the next day when I wake up, I'll be like, what was that? And I'll play it. And sometimes it'll be like unintelligible. It'll be like, or whatever. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, I remember. Yes, I remember what I was trying to do with that. And I will turn those into full-fledged songs. So it's just a gift or something from like the universe, just trying to get me to like put out music and record and write songs. Yeah, I don't know. It's different every time.
And you've been pretty productive from the look of it. You've released quite a string of singles: If It Kills Me, Washington, New York, You're Bored and I Hate It, Available, Crush Demo, Flintstone Gummies. That's an amazing song title. And most recently OCD and Figure 8.
Yeah.
These are all independently released, or
Yes.
not?
Yes, they
And
are.
are you proud to be an independent artist? I mean, it sounds like you're like you want that control, which of course is really important to keep true to yourself. How, I guess, what are your biggest, what are the pros and cons of being an independent artist, and why does it mean so much to you?
Yeah, I'm definitely proud to be an independent artist. I mean, I would love the opportunity to get some budget behind these grand ideas of this album, and I'm just going to fund it myself, I think, and that's okay, and I'm happy to do that. But and that's because also I want that control. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. um, Especially people in the music industry, because I'm like, you don't know. You don't, like, you know, what's so annoying to me is when people are trying to tell me, like, what type of music I should do. I'm like, dude, you grew up in a mansion in LA. You don't know anything about me or my, yeah, forget it. You don't even know how to play guitar. Get out of my face. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just annoying. So yeah, the pros for me is that I get to, like, you know, have full control over my music. I can do what I want when I want. But of course I have big dreams and I want to like play stadiums, and and I can do that, you know, independently. And I have a lot of artists that I look up to that are fully independent and like selling out shows and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know, it's possible. Um, The cons, I guess, is just like, yeah, you have to fund everything yourself. You have to do everything yourself. It's a lot of work. Like I said, I make my own merch. I design it. I print it. You know, order it wholesale and then resell it myself. You know what I mean? Like, I do all of that. I have no one to talk to about my ideas and stuff like that. Like, I'll send like my unfinished songs to just like my friends, and they're just like, yeah, it's good, you know, whatever. Like, they don't know, they're not musicians like that, so like that's okay. But
I was going to ask,
you
actually, is it
know,
quite lonely?
it's very, very lonely. I That's what I'm talking about. Like, I just like I love having that privacy and alone time. But sometimes I get scared that I am genuinely a crone, like like I am a crone, like an 80-year-old streganona. You know what I mean? Like, that's me. I'm walking around, you know, and I have a hard time having relationships. Like, I don't know. I was just thinking about, like, I played a show the other day on a porch, and it was great, and it was very fun, and I was playing for like everybody. There was like families there. There was people there with like boyfriends and girlfriends, husbands, children, wives, whatever. And I was like, I'm sacrificing a personal life to be performing for you. So buy my merch. You know what I mean? Like, I am sacrificing having a partner and children and that life, which is sometimes I romanticize that in my head. I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be so nice to like have that? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm sacrificing that potential part of my life and giving my mom and dad like grandchildren just to do this and play a show for $25 or whatever. So like, yeah, I have my ups and downs with all of that, because I do kind of like sometimes think, oh, I would love to have a child and have a husband and have like a home and a house, someday. But I also believe that you can do it all. Like I know, a lot of people that have it all and have a house and a life and also a music career. So I'm trying to manifest that for myself.
Was there any temptation to go into the label route, especially after The Voice?
um, Sort of. I mean, like, yeah, that was like whenever I was like working with different like managers and stuff like that. But I've been told, I don't know how many times, that labels will not be interested in me because I don't have enough streams on Spotify or whatever, or followers on Spotify. I have, um, let us know when you go viral. Let us know whenever you put out a hit song, stuff like that. Um,
This is what pisses me
so
off in the music industry. Like,
yeah,
why should
it's
that matter? If the music's good enough and you believe in it, then go behind it. And this is why I personally, as an artist myself too, I love So Far, because it's not about numbers or hype or anything like that. If you make great music, you have a stage, and the only other route really to build a fan base apart from touring is TikTok, and then your music is judged for the first 3 seconds, not right, especially when you put so much time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into it. Your music's judged in 3 seconds. It's just kind of criminal for me, and why I just got super disconnected with my own music even.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I mean, like, I whenever I was doing the voice and stuff like that, that was like 2019, 2020. Like TikTok wasn't even a thing then until after I was on the show. And then that's when I kind of started a TikTok because my friends were like, this is the new thing. This is the new way for you to like, you should do this or whatever. And so I did. And then, yeah, I got like a little bit of a following on there. And that's where like people like pretty much any kind of communication with labels or management or agents or something like that has come from my TikTok account. So that's been interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, but I haven't had like a moment so far where it's been like, hey, Zach, we're going to offer you like $100,000 and we're going to like distribute this song and the next 3 songs that you want to release or whatever. Like it hasn't been like that. So honestly, no, I haven't been that tempted by it because I haven't had that offered. But now I know, and I've seen a lot of like friends and people that I follow on TikTok and stuff like that that will have like a viral song, get like oh, I just signed to this label, and then they get shelved and dropped like a year later. And I'm like, that sucks for you. That really, yeah. And I understand. I understand the temptation of like a big upfront check or whatever, but you got to pay it back, sweetie.
Yeah, yeah, right. Zach, what do you hope people feel when they hear your music?
I hope that they can hear that the honesty, because all of my songs are straight up journal entries, or dreams that I've had that are just downloads, but like they're all like, yeah, straight up like from my journal, straight up from my experiences. And I hope that they can relate to it and not judge it too harshly for you know, a lot of my songs are sad. A lot of my songs are about heartbreak or whatever. And like, you can view it from that perspective, but you can also just be like, this is just one guy telling his story, using music as a way to um, process his emotions. And also, I really take pride in my lyrics and my vocal choices. Um, so I hope that they can just see it as like a way of sort of as super brutally honest poetry. I try not to be too like poetic in my lyrics, like vague, like grand, like metaphors and stuff like that. Because something that I love about music and a lot of the artists that I listen to is just like really like the details and stuff that you can relate to, like I'm gonna say like, and once I cried when I dropped you off for half an hour in your parking lot after karaoke, like that's real. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make that rhyme. I'm gonna do something with that. I'm gonna like tell like my brutal honesty in a song. That's yeah, that's the basics of it.
And your best advice to new artists today?
New artists.
So up and coming, so that are just starting out.
Um, do your homework, listen to music, um, so that you can find some inspiration. Go back and listen to these people that you've heard of, but you may have never like really done a deep dive into their music. Like one of the first things that I did when I was like, I want to write good songs was go back and listen to like all of the discography of the greats like David Bowie and Joni Mitchell and Prince and, you know, all of these like amazing singers and songwriters. And that helps me a lot. Also, I would say, um, perform, get your feet on the ground, go out there and do some open mics or some maybe do a so far show if you have some music out already and you want to start performing. Get your chops up. I'm so sick of seeing people like being offered record deals on Instagram and TikTok that have never performed a live show, have never been to like, had to play for like a bar at like midnight to a room of people that don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta kind of go through some of that stuff, in my opinion, to just, um, to just be successful. You have to go through the highs and the lows. Sometimes the lows can be playing a show for $20 for a room of people that don't care, but you grow from that and you will only get better. You know what I mean? And you'll learn how to command that room and command that attention. You'll figure it out.
And one last question for you, Zach. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
It would be, look at you. I'm proud of you. You ate that up. You really did. You're living your dream. And I'm so happy and proud of you because, like, yeah, as a kid, I dreamed about living in Hollywood and living in LA and like singing songs for people and traveling the world and performing in Berlin. And like, I never ever thought I would do that, dude. I was on a farm, like throwing hay into a barn. You know what I mean? Like, that was my life. So I made it happen for myself, and I'm really proud of myself. So yeah.
As you should be, Zach. I am such. I'm in awe, actually, to be honest, Zach. Like, thank you so much for being vulnerable with us and sharing your story. And guys, like, you have to check Zach out before before he will be playing stadiums and stuff like that. There's few people who really blow my mind these days, and Zach is definitely one of them. So
Thank
check him
you.
out. Amazing voice, incredible songs. You're gonna smash it, man. So please keep it up. Keep
Thank you.
blowing us all away. And yeah, any last words? Where can people find your music?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Josh. Seriously, and thanks for letting me play it so far Berlin when you hadn't even heard me live before. You just kind of I just sent you a DM and I was like, hey, I'm going to be there. Can I play? And you were like, yeah. And I appreciate that. So thank you. Yeah, you guys just, I have my music all over the streaming platforms, just Zach Day. And then I've been really trying to post a lot on my social media lately, like singing and promoting my music and doing covers and stuff like that. I'm at Zach on Instagram and Zach Music on TikTok. And yeah, I'm just trying to like be a little bit more vulnerable with posting and posting on my stories and just like letting people kind of follow me around. Because I really do think that it's important to share a little bit about yourself. And like, I don't know, so far I've just been kind of just posting music, but I'm trying to be a little bit more proactive in sharing a little bit more about my personal life and things like that. So I don't know, just come say hi. And yeah, it's been a great time. Thanks for having me, Josh. Appreciate it.
Zach Day, everybody. See you next time.